Welcome back to the channel, and on this week's episode, as you can see behind me, a brand new 2020 Level 3 Mini all electric. So this was released in March 2020, and I'm going to take a look around, give you a review, give my impressions, and on a later episode I will be doing a comparison between the Mini electric, the BMW i3 electric and the Honda E electric. So look out for that episode coming up. In the meantime, let's have a look at the specs. So the specs of this car is a 28.9 kilowatt hour battery. That's usable. It's actually 32, but the 28, 29 is the usable. It's got a WLTP range of 140 miles. The range that I've got at the moment, bearing in mind it's a little bit chilly today, had 50% in the battery and had about 40-45 miles. So you can probably average around 100 or just over 100 miles, I would imagine. So we'll put that to the test and hopefully we'll get a bit of charging in today and show that. It's got 50 kilowatt hour charging for CCS, up to 11 kilowatt hour charging on AC. So that's good news. Should give you a charge up to 80-90% in about 36 minutes. So as you can see, it's not clean. I've been driving it like properly, so it's not a critically clean car at the moment. Let's have a look around the car. So as you can see, your average Mini shape. So let me get out of the way for you. But as you can see, like the average Mini shape that you know and love in terms of Minis these days. Now I've driven the very original 1980s Mini, I've driven the petrol normal Mini, and as you can imagine, like Mini has evolved over the years and is now this kind of slightly bigger shape that it currently is. These are made in Oxford, so they're made on the same production line as the petrol versions of these. So it's good that we're having an electric car made in the UK. So that's a really good shout. And what I really do like about this Level 3 model is the tail lights, which have the Union Jack, and some of the interior that has a Union Jack on it. So it just gives you that nice little feel that you're buying a British car as well. Mini electric are now doing these really cool designs on their wheels. Now they look cool, but they serve a purpose as well. These actually serve as extra dynamic for the car and gives you better range, because if you have the spokes and stuff, generally that has a bit of wind drag on it. This reduces that drag and gives you a little bit more range. I personally like them. I think they're a great design, goes really well with the rest of the car. So like you can see, great fantastic Mini design as always. So anyone that has a Mini already will be very familiar with this design, and I think will be very comfortable going from a petrol to an electric version of this. Mini hasn't changed anything too much. They've got obviously the electric E symbol on there, and no grille, with some slight vents there just to let air through to make sure we can put the battery, and one up here as well. But overall, the design here is not too dissimilar to your average Mini, which is absolutely a good thing. So let's take this 2020 Mini electric out for drive. So it's quite noticeable that this is still very much a Mini, just bit with a bit of added punch. So like I said earlier, this is a Level 3 model Mini, and for that's approximately £30,900 after the £3,000 government incentive. And there's two other models, Level 1, Level 2, and they come with a varying degree of specifications. This one comes with a Karman and Carden sound system, for instance, rear view parking cameras, and a different trim. So it's more the bells and whistles, in all honesty, between Level 1 and Level 3. But this car, from what I've driven so far, is fantastic. As you know, if you're an existing subscriber, you know I drive a BMW i3. Now this is not necessarily built on the same battery tech and things like that, but it does have a lot of the history and the lineage from BMW in terms of their electric range. So they've taken all the best practices really from the i3 and they've put it into the Mini. Now, to me, it makes perfect sense. 100%. This is a brand that should and will sell by the bucket load. It's Mini. It's a worldwide known brand. They've not changed much around with the Mini too much, which is fantastic. So as I said earlier, if you're an existing Mini owner or you've had a Mini in the past, you'll be very familiar with how this drives and the low seating. Now this reminds me of the Honda E in terms of that extra little low go-kart feeling, which to be honest I miss from cars. It's something that you always used to have growing up. You know, if you ever owned an original Mini, you had that kind of feeling, but this has certainly got the punch. Being electric, obviously instant torque, so it's really powerful in that regard. The style of it, I think, is particularly good. They haven't gone crazy on it, but it's got some pretty cool colour combinations. Now, obviously being level 3 and at almost £31,000, this one I would like to have seen, and this is a common thing to be honest on small city cars, I'd like to have seen a slightly better range. 150, 160 sort of real world. This unfortunately I think will have about 100-mile range at this time of year. You might squeeze a bit more out, 120 during the summer months, but that's not a bad thing. This is a city car at the end of the day, but I would be more than happy taking this up and down the country like I do with my i3. Again, I think they could have possibly put 100 kilowatt chargers in to make it a little bit faster, but you know, it's not a deal breaker. Absolutely. This car does what it says on the tin. It's got all the good stuff that you expect from Mini. The level 3 has got a leather interior, so it's really comfortable. The seats are really comfortable. You feel sort of just a comfortable space to be in, really. I love the fact that, you know, it's got this great little sunroof back here that you can slide back, and generally this is like, I don't know, it just feels like a tiny little go-karty sports sort of version of the Mini. It's got that instant sort of pulling away power. It's not really a slouch in terms of speed from what I've seen. I'm going to take it up on the motorway in a minute just to open its sort of stretch its legs a little. I'll try and get into the lane, and just to kind of make sure that we can, you know, really kind of push it a little bit. Again, it's I don't know, just it's nice to be behind the wheel of a Mini again, which I haven't done for years, and this really shows what you miss from a Mini. It's the excitement and the fun that this little car brings. In terms of boot space, there's not a huge amount. It can be extended with the seats down, but again, you're not really buying that for, like, you know, estate size boots and things like that. It's got enough. I managed to get my backpack and a few bits and pieces in the back, and obviously with the seats down you can get a lot more. So yeah, this car has absolutely no problem on motorways. I did see a few comments here and there of people that have test drove this and said that it's not as quick as the i3. I'd have to disagree. This car more than capable in terms of motorway speeds. So the other stuff that we can talk about, this Mini Level 3 has a heads-up display. I've only ever used a heads-up display in the Jaguar I-Pace, and that worked really well. This is fantastic. It allows you not to have to take your eye off the road, and on the main display you've got it right in front of you with a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit I've got there, and I'm currently doing 36. The displays in here are really bright, really large. I believe the Level 3 has a slightly larger
display in the big circle in the middle of the panels, because I think that, you know, it's another one of those little features that you get with the level 3 over the level 1 and level 2. Plenty of buttons in here. Personally, maybe a few too many buttons for my personal taste. However, again, it's in keeping with the Mini and how that is currently designed on the petrol versions. So again, that's not a bad thing. If you're used to that, you know where everything is, the buttons and things like that. The stop start is a very cool little kind of retro style push down button. I like that. Now, the difference for me between this and the i3 were the gears, or the drive and reverse and things like that, are on the steering column. With this one, they're down to the left if you like you would an automatic car, for instance, where you've got your park, drive and reverse. There's also a button here that says green and sport. So if you turn it to green, it changes it basically to efficient driving, and we don't want that. We want got E+, maximum range without all the comfort. We don't want that. Let's see if we can change it back up to sport, and everything goes green, and you instantly feel that extra bit of torque, which just gives you, it just says dynamic setting, so basically it just gives you a nice bit of punch. Now that's, to be honest, how I would want to drive this. This is a nimble little thing. I personally could see me very happy in something like this. Maybe the next model, if the model had say 200-mile range, I'll be more than happy with that. At the moment, this doesn't offer me personally too much over my i3, but it's a phenomenal car. I love the fact that it still very much looks like Mini in here. It's very it's got that familiar feel, but with digital displays. This display in front of you is completely digital. The big display in the middle, the round display, that's digital as well. And underneath there's some buttons for climate control and AC and seats and all that sort of good stuff. So it's good in that regard. So I've driven this now motorways. I've driven it around little country lanes, and I must admit I'm quite taken with this. The car feels really planted and solid. The steering feels great. It's not sketchy at all. It just feels like it's a solid drive, and that's a good thing. I mean, it's low to the ground, which obviously helps with that type of thing. It's not as high as, say, the BMW i3. Lengthwise, I think it's quite similar. I'll put the specs up here now, just so you got an idea of the size of the car. So one thing I noticed as well is that one of the things that I've noticed recently on cars, they have paddles for regen braking. I don't particularly like that. I want the car to do all that for me. I want the regen to be there or not at all. This lot, I'm quite happy to say that this one does. You can do that 1 foot driving that the i3 is well known for, and obviously the Nissan Leafs. But this one does it really well. The regen is particularly good, and it's really nice and strong. So underneath the armrest, it has a wireless charger. So put your phone in there, and light comes on. Charging, absolutely fantastic. Now, obviously, being only a 3-door, no, obviously back door here, makes it a little bit tricky to get into the back seats like you would or you used to. I wouldn't say really enough room to kind of get in. It's a bit of a squeeze for me. When you are in, however, there's a reasonable amount of room. There's not much in terms of leg room, as you can see down here. And getting in, even for me, was a bit of a squeeze in the back. It's, you know, it's obviously not a 5-door. It's a 3-door. You've got cup holders at the back here.
and ISO fixes on both sides of the back seat, so that's good. So I wanted to give a big shout out to Mini in Stevenage, Specialist Cars. Thank you so much for the lend of this Level 3 2020 Mini Electric. If you want to know more about the Mini Electric, then don't forget to check out their website. I'll put a link in the description below. Pop into the showroom, ask for Kate. She has been nothing but really helpful in terms of, especially during this pandemic, to let me take the car for the drive and use it, and obviously put it on my channel, so that is much appreciated. So what do I think then? What's my final impressions of the 2020 Mini Electric? Short answer, I absolutely love it. It's a fantastic little city car. You can go plenty of long distance with this, with a good 100 maybe 120 mile range and DC charging. There's no reason why you couldn't use this for long distance. Suspension is really good, and generally it's just a good Mini. But it's not just a good Mini, it's a great EV as well. I think its price is okay for what you're getting. You're getting the quality that you expect from a Mini now. If you've already driven a Mini and you love Minis, you'll love this one, hands down. This is a fantastic little car. Anyway, if you did like this episode, don't forget to like, share and subscribe as always. I am, like I said at the beginning of this episode, looking to do in the next week, maybe week and a half, a comparison video between the Mini Electric, the BMW i3 Electric and the Honda E, all of which I've driven extensively now, and I'll be giving you my impressions in terms of